Hi, everyone. Welcome to Coach Mo and my client interview series. I'm telling stories of those women who have brought their souls to work and are now living their dream job and dream life. We are catching Stephanie home in Pittsburgh. Stephanie, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me, Mo.
You are welcome. It's always great to talk to you. Stephanie and I have been working together for just about 2 full years. And wow is what I can say about what Stephanie has done with her life and her soul and her career since we first met. Stephanie, just tell us a little bit about you right now, like what industry you're in and a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I am in the nonprofit sector. Absolutely love it. On a day-to-day basis, I'm in management of a small nonprofit outside the city of Pittsburgh. So every day is different. It's exciting. I love being challenged and building wonderful partnerships with our tenant agencies and other community partners to improve the quality of life for people we serve.
That's awesome. Well, I know, and you know this, but I lived in Pittsburgh in the 80s and early 90s. And those were the glory years of Pittsburgh reinventing itself. It had gone through massive transformation of its industries toppling down. Kind of like what a person goes through in their own personal transformation, topple down the old in order to build the new. So tell us a little bit about Stephanie makes an appointment for a clarity call 2 years ago. What was going on then?
Absolutely. Wow. That's hard to think. It's been a full 2 years. About 2 years ago, I was feeling really stressed out in my career. I didn't know what was next for me. I kept feeling like I was hitting roadblock after roadblock, whether in my organization or with networking meetings. I felt stuck. Stuck is the best way to describe it. Yeah. And I kept thinking at that point, well, if I just go have another coffee meeting, if I work on my resume again, something will click and I'll be in a new position or meet someone great I might find out to be a mentor, like something. That's what I was banking on. Yeah. And it wasn't working. And so I was listening to a lot of career development podcasts at that point, including the one you had been doing with Kathy Caprino. Yeah. And so I remember you had done a meditation on healing your inner child. Okay, I'm listening. It's like, that's great. What does this have to do with my career? Right. And I went through it. I was like, okay, Stephanie, sit down, enjoy this, work through it. And something inside of me clicked. And I was like, why am I having this response? And I enjoyed it and I got a lot out of it. So I'm okay. I just moved in with my boyfriend, lots of life changes at the time. I'm open to new experiences. I'll book a clarity call. And I did. I was sitting in this room, actually, pre-renovation. And, I signed up. Your website was super easy to use. Book that call. And we had a 1-hour chat about where I was, where I wanted to be, and what was blocking me from getting there. What did I need to address? Yeah. And that's where I was in August of 2016, and I haven't looked back. It's been a wonderful journey ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm only asking you to look back just a little bit here so that we can tell your beautiful story. There were a couple of hurdles that you went through in the original 12-week workshop together. Yes. As you know, and just for everyone who's listening to this, we basically create 2 kind of like structures in our consciousness to navigate the world. One structure is how we view ourselves, and the other is the structure about who the world is to us. And these are ever-changing, perhaps plastic and movable, but most people, when they're navigating life, once they kind of get set up on who they are and who the world is, they kind of like stay there, which is the epitome of being stuck. So, Stephanie, I know that when you first came into the workshop, you were like, all right, let's get into this and let's make some things happen. What were some of the key things that you had to recognize or take responsibility for or get through? Just, again, nothing too deep and personal, but whatever you feel comfortable sharing about your journey in that time we worked together.
Absolutely. So in the beginning, I'm thinking through module 1 and 2 specifically, I really had to dig in and get to know myself. What I realized was I needed to know myself better to be able to share that with the world, to even think about discussing my career and what I want it to be. Because if you don't know who you are, how do you know where you're going to go or present that to someone else?
Right.
So definitely those first 2 modules, and then we got to the elevator pitch. And I think I did that 30 plus times.
Which, by the way, folks, is like a video.
It's a video, yeah. And, I wasn't satisfied with it. It was that perfectionist in me at the time, which I no longer am, which is great. And on one of our calls, Mo said, like, I was struggling with this, telling my story, and I was like, why does it matter? Like, why do people care who I am or like why I got to be where I am if I'm performing and doing well in my career? Like, what does that matter? And she totally broke down my thought patterns with that. And we delved into why I need to tell my story. And that early on really shaped my thinking and entire approach to my career and my personal life.
I remember that coaching session in particular. There's some milestone memories I have as a coach. And, sometimes as a coach, I am opening my internal guidance system for answers and to help my clients work through some things. So I remember that exact conversation, and I remember thinking, I'm just going to look up the Red Cross. And I don't know if the Red Cross had a new CEO or I don't remember exactly, but I just thought top of mind, I'm going to look at the Red Cross. So what I'm likely to do on the group coaching calls, as you know, Stephanie, is just go to the internet and find some stuff out as we're kind of talking so that there's more to kind of deal with. So I go to the Red Cross, and there it is, the CEO of the Red Cross, who's a female, she's still in that role because there was just an article about her somewhere that I read recently. This whole story about her, like it was our CEO's story. And the American Red Cross had this whole thing about their CEO. It was a great story about her life and career and this and that. And I said, Stephanie, I just went over to the American Red Cross. They're a nonprofit, right? They're kind of like big in your sector. Yeah, just like the biggest. Okay. CEO's story is splashed all over their website. Before the life saving of all the people, it's her story. Why? And Stephanie, what have you learned about your story and how it matters?
It matters because at the root of who I am, it's what motivates me day in and day out to serve other people. And as I said earlier, I'm in the nonprofit sector. That's what I do day in and day out.
Right.
And if I didn't tap into my why, I wouldn't be able to serve as effectively as I do.
Right, right. And other people care about your story because then they get connected with who you are as a person. So it's a win-win.
It is.
So when we tell our story, we are sharing our person. We are coming alive as a person. And in the work that I do, I mean, when we're telling our story, it's not some fake, flummy story. It's deeply who we are, and I call it your soul. So this is the unchangeable parts of Stephanie. And that brings you alive. I mean, you're just thinking about it, and everyone who's watching your face while we're doing this can see your whole energy come alive. So now that we have this purposeful connection and this story, what happened next to help you emerge and move forward in your career?
Great question. I think one of the other things I got out of the course specifically was I stopped always using my intellect and my brain to make decisions. And I know that sounds really random off the surface, on top, but I dug deep and I was like, what is my intuition telling me? What is that gut feeling? Where am I feeling guided to go? Right. And when I made that shift, oh my gosh, my world changed because I was suddenly viewing, my surroundings, my opportunities completely from a different perspective. Yes. And when I made that shift, I would say, took me a little bit to get there. Yeah. But about 15 months ago, the floodgates opened. You know, I had different offers. I was able to negotiate, in the position where I am now opened up out of the blue. It's an agency I absolutely love. Yes, out of the blue. And, you know, I had a fabulous vacation as well. And so when I really dug deep and changed my mindset and let my intuition guide me, that's when things started to change. And I let go of having to always have the right answer or the intellectual answer.
Yeah.
And I just trusted myself.
Right. And you know, this is, as you know, because we've been working together for 2 years in a row. Stephanie is part of my ongoing coaching group that I work with. So when we let go of the intellect and allow the intellect to kind of like just lag behind, we do allow the more genius parts of ourselves, because we have neurons and pathways and connections with the quantum field all the way through our body, as you know. And so there's so many more places in our body that we can pick up information and knowledge and awareness and insight, and then make our navigating a lot easier. And the intellect slows that down. It literally stifles the higher genius centers of our body. And so a lot of women, when they tell me that they're stuck, I know that they're living in their head.
Yeah.
And we're living in our head because as a young person, typically it's what we got rewarded for. Good grades, doing good homework. And, you know, the first part of our career, right, exactly. First part of our career is kind of like doing homework and handing stuff in and showing up that way. And really, in order to make movement in our career, we have to open up the bigger, more genius parts of ourselves. And you've done such a brilliant, lovely job opening yourself up. The other thing that I saw you do is you decided to choose you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And the other thing that I think happens to a lot of people, women in particular in the nonprofit, although I'm sure men are also guilty of this, is you just keep giving away your time, volunteering here, doing this. It's the do-gooder syndrome, right? Do good over here, do good over there. Someone's bound to find me and see me and reward me for it, aren't they? Please? Someone?
Yeah.
I hardly have time to sleep, please. So share a little bit your story of choosing yourself and what that meant for you and how you had to re-engineer your own thoughts of who you are and how you operate in the world.
Absolutely. Excellent point. You know, a couple years ago, I was still in that doer mentality where I felt, okay, not only in my job at a nonprofit where I'm helping people, I need to pick up all of these other volunteer opportunities so I have more experience and am connecting with other organizations. And so at one point I was doing, you know, virtual remote volunteering via social media and grant writing, on top of in-person mentoring and starting a nonprofit. And so I got to the point, I'm like, this isn't working. I'm burned out. I was burned out. And at that point I was in my mid-20s. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, this is the sector I want to be in. I need to change my thinking about this, because if I'm burnt out and exhausted all the time and spread so thin and trying to prove my worthiness to other people, yeah, I'm not really helping anyone, especially not myself.
Right.
And so I changed that thought pattern, and I instead focused on what was really meaningful to me. And so I dug deep. I let go of some of those external commitments and freed up my time. And so I had more time for me to even focus on myself and what I wanted to do, whether it was recreation or career oriented. And so when I changed that thought pattern and then selected me, that was perhaps one of the most profound experiences I've had in the past few years.
I think you had a goal of speaking locally and being a thought leader, and all of a sudden those opportunities began coming your way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And especially now with my position in the nonprofit, it's more visible. And so I am connecting with other agencies in our area, managing our tenants and having those like higher profile connections.
When you left the workshop, one of the modules as you exit is this 12-month action plan. And as the good student that you are, you went right in it and you filled it in and you did it and you're like, Mo, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I was like, freaking awesome. That's on fire. You had a goal of some trips.
I did. I did.
Something you've never really indulged in or given yourself time to do in the past. So talk a little about that, because I think this is so delightful. I love this.
That was one of my favorite activities too in the course, is just being able to have that time to work on your plan and dream anything, you know. And so one of the commitments I wanted to make to myself was to travel more, and that included international and, you know, smaller weekend trips, because I'm way more fulfilled when I'm exploring and connecting with people outside of Pittsburgh, you know. And so on my 8x8, I had talked about going to Hawaii. I'd never been to Hawaii, had no idea how it was going to happen. I really thought, you know, I did have that moment of doubt of, this is great, Mel, but I don't know if this one's going to happen. Like, is this really going to work?
Yeah.
And so I kept focusing on, you know, being in Hawaii and what that feeling state would be, what kind of experiences I would have. Lo and behold, last February, my partner had applied to attend a conference in Hawaii, and his company approved him going. So I got to go too, and it was wonderful. And that was last summer, and I can't even describe it. It was a miraculous thing that happened, and I enjoyed every single minute of it and got to, you know, explore on my own, but we had time together too. It was so beautiful. And I remember too, last year at that time, we had a check-in scheduled.
Yes.
So I woke up at 6 a.m. that time, Hawaii time, for our check-in, and I had the palm trees behind me, the ocean. It was just gorgeous. I love it. And I want to go back, of course.
Right, right.
Of course. So.
Of course. Why not?
Right.
So, ironically, out of the blue, when you were there, having chosen yourself, having initiated a dream of a trip that you had no idea how it was going to happen, and the universe kept doing its thing to say, here, Stephanie, here's an opportunity to go. Get the airfare and you're good to go. You chose yourself again by allowing yourself to have something joyous and happy for yourself.
Yes.
And lo and behold, while you're there, job opportunities begin coming together and showing up while you're on the other side of the world, so to speak. I mean, Pittsburgh and Hawaii away from each other. So, and I remember you had some type of interview or something before you went. You're like, what should I say? I'm going to be on vacation and they might be calling me. And I said, tell them that you're on vacation. I know, sometimes I'm a genius coach. I mean, hello. So all sorts of magnificent things came your way while you're in Hawaii, having chosen yourself, and it being in a state of joy and happiness and wonder. You're now at the highest vibrational place ever for yourself as a person, and you're in the tropic paradise, and things are coming your way.
And I have to say too, the day that I got back, so my first day back from that trip, was when I got the phone call that the position I currently have was open, and was I still interested? So
let me think about this. And then as things played out, you interviewed, and then you ended up turning down the job that you thought you were going to be taking before you left for Hawaii, as I remember the company.
Mm-hmm.
So here you are coming back from this dream tropical trip with all kinds of opportunity at your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to obviously divulge anything specific, and more money and higher opportunities
Mm-hmm.
and more visibility, all the things that you were looking for, that you had planted the seeds for when we worked together. Now, when we worked together, you had a really big, massive shift in that job during the workshop. It's kind of a funny story. We won't talk about it too much because there's someone that if we said something, whatever.
Right.
So, let's just say things fell her way.
We did. We did.
So now you're in this this beautiful job where you have the opportunity to learn new skills and be in charge of stuff, and have both dotted line and direct report type of thing. So you're really learning a lot about management and leading. You came to my clients only retreat in 2017, and then again this year. How would you consider your life now, 2 years later, compared to when we first made that call and talked about what was in your way?
Great question. Now all I see possibilities and freedom, and I allow myself to feel that. I'm not stressed out all the time. I'm not feeling like so scarce and stressed. I said stress already. And now I just feel so free and open and wanting to connect with other people. There's another thing that we talked about a lot was I consider myself an introvert. I do. And
right.
I was totally an introvert when I first entered the course. And, I've seen that transformation of it's okay to talk to people. It's okay to have relationships and connect with like-minded and soul sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it as just being so full and abundant now.
Yeah. That's so great. So even as an introvert, and you can still be your introverted self and need time for yourself to read and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you now are not awkwardly navigating the world of work, the world of your professional world, the world of maybe if you go somewhere and meet someone, you're not like shying away from that encounter and that sort of thing. And that's really where all of our journeys are a path, and there's always magic along the path. And if we're not open and connected, we're not going to see the magic.
Right.
And I think there was a couple of commercials about this where people were like heads down and they were like meeting the love of their life or something. I forget who did that commercial, but that's how the universe goes. If our heads down and we're only focused on our pain and scarcity and lack, we're going to miss out on all the magic. Now, there are some people in the world who don't believe in magic. And so one of the things I love helping my clients really understand is how to tap into magic. And I know, Stephanie, that you know how to tap into magic and what that feels like and what it's all about. You recently had a little snafu with your beautiful new car.
Yeah.
Like the current Stephanie, how did she navigate that wasn't a little fender bender. I mean, your car
it was gone for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, right.
So calmly and effortlessly. I didn't freak out. I wasn't extremely upset. I accepted what had happened in that moment and remained calm and took the steps I needed to take. And what could be so traumatic, just a little bit of a bump in the road. And so have my car back now, and those 2 weeks have flown by and everything's back to normal.
Right. Yeah. And it was one day delayed and you got to be on one of our calls together. Don't tell your boss. It was very serendipitous. And I think one of the things that I love seeing in my clients, especially those who I have known, like I've known you over a period of time, it's like all of these things work out. Everything always works out for me. This is one of my key phrases. Yes. And most people our intellect resists that. Well, they don't always just work out for me. Well, no, they work out for all the me's in the universe. when we are allowing ourselves to take the lessons and to know that, okay, car accident, I realize how temporary my car is, and boy, aren't I glad I'm so safe now, and I can navigate this problem like this is nothing. Like, universe, I'm ready. I'm graduating from the level of this being a problem. This is like just something that happens along the road. It's not like, oh my God, can you believe it? Now with this, and I mean, we can create really negative vibration of something that is an untoward happening. We don't like it, but we can either go crazy on it and increase the negative vibe, or we can be like, okay, I'm cool. I know how to navigate this. I've got all the tools in the tool chest. I know how to navigate the universe. Boom, 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 boom. No problem. And something funny happened when you got in your car.
It did.
After it was fixed.
Oh my gosh. So at the expansion experience this past May, we had the opportunity to share our future selves, and we had a fabulous evening of, dressing up and playing music and just being together. So beautiful. And I chose a song and dance, which, trust me, never really do that. But there's a song I've always loved, Learn to Fly by the Foo Fighters. Gets my blood pumping, just pumps me up. I love how I feel when I'm listening to it. So that was the song I chose to play that evening in Miami. And I'm driving home from getting my car from the shop last week, and one of the first songs that comes on was Learn to Fly. I was like, oh, universe, yeah. You're funny sometimes, right? It was just so serendipitous, yeah.
It's a lovely nod to say, good job, Stephanie.
Yes.
And we're watching over you. And I don't know all the lyrics to that song, but I do remember when you played it on the experience we had in May. I mean, Learn to Fly clearly is a metaphor of taking on something that you don't know how to do, something that's big, and being able to do it. And there's, as I was watching the videos, I was playing a song for you that day, I was seeing the whole funny goofiness of the band members kind of meeting and greeting weirdos on the plane, in which they were them dressed up as, a guy dressed up as a woman, and it was like a lot of weird characters, and they just kept meeting themselves as weirdos as they're learning to fly. And I just love the whole entire metaphor about that. And because you have learned how to fly.
Yes.
And you have met some lovely souls along the path, and maybe some weirdos along the path, but they're all good. They're all good. Weirdos can be who weirdos want to be, and that's no problem. What would you give as advice to a woman who is where you were 2 years ago, and she's either booked a clarity call or contemplating doing it, or going, I don't want to talk to a stranger? What would you say to that woman from where you are today?
Choose you. Take that time. Choose yourself. And I know it can kind of feel weird and have lots of anxiety about that, or just be completely opposed to that, but check that at the door and choose yourself. And when you do that, amazing things happen.
Yeah, so good. So good. Now, Stephanie lives in the city I called home for 12 years, and she and I have gotten to not only see each other at my events, but also in the beautiful city of Pittsburgh, which is in its own city a renaissance compared to, like I said earlier, where it was when I lived there. Things have built up. It's a high-tech hub. It's a big healthcare hub. It's a big nonprofit hub. I mean, there's a lot going on in the city of Pittsburgh. And it's a beautiful city with the three rivers coming together. And obviously, I think most people know about the major sports teams there. What's ahead for Stephanie?
Oh, man, you're stumping me. I love it. I love it. Oh, good. Continue to choose myself every single day, because that's when the miracles happen. And choose myself and choose expansion. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. How much better is your relationship with your boyfriend since you have grown and become a more divinely
Yeah.
oriented, higher vibrational you.
It's amazing. I love him so much, and we're just we have such a good partnership, and I'm sure he appreciates me being a lot calmer and not as frazzled a lot of the time. So I think one of the things I've noticed too is we communicate a lot better. And that obviously for any relationship, you want your communication to be amazing. Yeah.
Well, as an aligned person, communication becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
We're now the master of our feelings rather than taking control of us. And as we're evolving, we're really in charge of our state and our emotions and our choices. And I always tell people, you're not gonna lose your feelings, but you're gonna be in charge.
Yes.
You're gonna choose. If you want to be angry, you're gonna be able to be angry, but you're choosing it. It's not in charge of you, which for me is one of the most delightful things about being aligned and having your soul pumped up to a level where you're like jamming and jiving with the best parts of yourself and life is going on. Do you think that other people see you differently?
I do. My family does, for sure. Some of my close friends as well. And I would even say my current colleagues. Where I am now in my career, I had interned there when I was in grad school. So I worked with a lot of the same people, and I was a very different person. I was super shy and didn't really talk to a lot of people. And now I'm way more assertive and confident in myself too.
That's so great. That must be a great mirror for you to see yourself having grown and evolved.
Mm-hmm.
And your path forward and your career and how you're going to navigate that is just going to be so much easier for you with the skills and the vibrational level you have now. It's just, I can't wait for what's ahead, and I can't wait to keep seeing you evolve and become a higher and better version of yourself. As you know, we always say the better it gets, the better it gets. And nothing's more true than that. And I am so delighted to have shared this time with you, see you again, spend time with your story. It just makes me so happy to know where you've come from and just watch the continued progress. And it's just, you've made the place a better place, Stephanie, the world a better place by you being a better you.
Thanks, Mo. I'm so glad we could chat today.
Yeah, so great, so great. Hey, folks, if you want to have a journey like Stephanie's, all you have to do is start off with a clarity call. And you'll speak to me or one of my team members, and we'll talk about what's not going on with you and where you want to go, and we'll kind of hash through it. And if we think there's a way for us to really help accelerate that, I mean, look, Stephanie has gone probably where most people don't go in 10 years. In just 2 years. And it's really, really just heartwarming and inspiring. So folks, it's available for you too. Look it up at mofaul.com. And if you'd like to see my webinar, it's /free training. And if you want to go right ahead and book that clarity call, it's mofaul.com/strategy. Stephanie, thanks so much for joining. I really, really appreciate sharing your story and seeing you again and having the chance to reminisce and really see how awesome you have become and your life has become.
Great. Thanks so much, Mo.
Okay.